Oh, we're live. Okay. Let me stop this. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the weekly recap with
Hey,
the recap team. As you can see,
Guys.
we're a little short today, but we still gonna make it do what it do. We are here um, with the lovely Desiree, and
Hey
also
guys.
with Sister Smith Social Media herself, Maya LaBoo. You were
hey.
busy yesterday, Maya. You had the panel, then this morning you had sheesh, you had
We're the church
maximize
that
beauty.
never sleeps. So
Yeah, this is true. It's I was like, dang
somebody
man,
gotta
you
be
look.
up.
Since
I was
Kevin's
like,
not here, I'm gonna introduce you, Deacon. Put in the comments,
oh
everyone,
jeez.
Deacon Muggy. As
Them
Oh
curls are
my
popping
god.
today and
you
Dickens
see the little
on.
juicy balls trying to come
Some juices and berries, some up in
in?
here.
What activator you use?
Little ultra perm, you know what I mean? No, that's because
Oh god.
I literally just did it. That's most likely why. But
You had to get camera ready.
listen, I was off today, so I was actually like chilling till about 4. And
Mhm.
Gotcha.
he's like, "Yep." I was like, "Wait, we have something to do today." That's right.
When don't we have something to do?
let's 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 do what we gotta do. I took a much needed little day of rest from all the school work. I still have a little bit more to do, but I learned from my mother. I'm going ahead of myself. I learned from my mother can't pour from an empty well. So
Okay.
yeah, gotta
Yeah.
had to be obedient. Shout out to everybody in the comments. Let's see who's
Hi
in the
guys.
comments. I haven't
I
seen him
see
yet. I'm trying to
Keith
share.
A.
Yep, there he is. I ain't seen you in a
Oh,
minute, man. Where you been at?
thanks, Keefe.
Nicola.
Hey, Nicola.
And happy belated Mother's Day to all the
Yeah.
mamas that are tuning in.
The
Yeah.
mamas. All the mamas.
Mhm.
A special Mother's Day recap is
Yes.
coming your way.
Mm-hmm.
And so, first of all, as Kevin always asks, how was everybody's day? What y'all do today? How y'all
That
feeling?
was good. It was good. I really enjoyed this weekend and be able to celebrate my mom because she's worth it. She does so much for me and my family. So
Mama
I was glad to be
LaBoo.
able to honor her.
Yeah.
In addition to all the other days I show her some love, but
Yeah.
but yesterday was
yesterday
special.
was
I
extra
got you.
special.
I got you. I understand. I understand. What about you,
Yeah.
Des?
No, I definitely had a great time yesterday. Called my aunties, my mother figures in my life. And then also, checked in on some of my people that I know who don't have moms
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Like, hey, how
Yeah.
you doing? What's going on with you?
Mm-hmm.
I know today kind of it's bittersweet,
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
looking
I
out for
did that
folks.
too, as well. Checked in on some folks. Spent some time with my mom. Spent some time with my aunt as well. She's like a second mom.
Yeah.
I live with my grandmother. I always spend time with her, but I spent some more time with her as well. And made a drive by to one of my favorite aunts that I rarely see all the time. She was shocked to see me. That was great. I did that right after Engage yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then most of the day I was here chilling. After
Yeah.
you give them their gifts and you spend time with them and laugh and joke, they say, "Okay, leave me alone."
This time to
Yeah.
go. No, but I always love showing like Mother's Day love to the extended mothers in our lives, like the aunties
Yeah.
and people who've been that mother figure,
Yeah.
because they pour into you. It's good to show them some love on that day as well.
And I hope everybody showed some love to our spiritual mother as well, the church yesterday, and tuned in because we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
find out in a few minutes
Yeah. Uh-oh.
what's going on. We're gonna find out in a few minutes what's going on. All right. So yesterday, during Engage with uh, my sister Desiree, we asked a question that I'm going to ask again. This for today, and it says, "What's one thing your mom or mother figure taught you that changed your life forever?" There's
Mm.
one thing
I think one thing that she's taught me so much, so that's a really hard question.
No.
But I guess what it means to be strong, like we all have that idea of what being strong, what being a strong woman is.
Mm-hmm.
But just seeing how she's pushed through and carried the family and everything else, like it inspires me so much. And it encourages me to, do the same and to follow in her footsteps of what being a strong person in God, looks like. So that's probably one of the things that she instilled in me the most.
Yeah. I'll share like a second thing, but not even from my mom, but like from a mother figure. Just the women in my life who have stepped in, like to show me what womanhood means and looks like,
Mm-hmm.
and just really like having that essence of like when you walk into a room, a woman has arrived. I love that. That's something that I'm now standing in. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Sheesh. Do I want to repeat the same? I didn't really go into details, but I would really have to say the one from yesterday that I shared was just seeing my mother's perseverance and strength
Mm-hmm.
as she was going to work full time, going to school full time, and then taking care of me full time.
Yeah.
And she did all these things. I was probably like 14, 15. She sacrificed missing shows that I did, plays that I did, all types of important events that I did during high school. She would send my grandmother, she would send my aunt, but she couldn't come. And I remember at her graduation, she said, "This is why I did this to show you what it takes.
Mm-hmm.
That even if you have something going on and it's not ideal the way that you want to get your dreams done, you can still fulfill them
Yeah.
by pushing through. And sometimes you may have to make the necessary sacrifices."
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't understand it then, but I understand it now. Now that I'm
Yeah.
in her shoes,
Mm-hmm.
doing a lot of different things at one time and learning how to push and manage. And
yeah, there's
it was
so
amazing
much.
thing.
There's so much as kids that we don't appreciate that our
Yeah.
parents do for us, and the
Yeah.
sacrifices that we make that we literally won't get until we're in, that position. So yeah, moms, parents, everybody, thank you
All
so
of them.
much for all that you do.
Listen, because I remember, seeing her come home from work like 4 or 5 o'clock at night and
Mm-hmm.
plugging in and doing papers until about midnight, waking up at 6 to get ready for work and take me to school. It was,
Yeah.
And like,
it's
thank God
nuts.
that you don't have a child right now, so that you can get these things done, so that you can
Yeah.
tell your child about this, but they don't have to
Mhm.
go through the missing you moments.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. That's definitely true. Kife has a comment. He said, "I put in the comments yesterday was learning to grow up, learning respect, respect older adults and family, and to get respect, you give respect." Come on, that's the golden rule right there. I like
It
that.
all,
I like that.
what goes around comes around. So
Yeah,
definitely give
absolutely.
respect.
I have another follow up question that I thought was interesting until we get into the message which we're about to. This is just icebreaker conversation here.
Okay.
And you guys can answer these in the
Yes.
comments.
Leave your answers in the comments,
Leave
please.
your comments in the questions, please. Your answers in the comments. I'm sorry, because it's how we get the conversation really going. And yeah, make sure you share. If you didn't share, please share and indicate that you shared by commenting shared.
Mm-hmm.
All right, commenting shared. That way we know we can shout you out and really appreciate you. So the question
Robin,
is,
Keisha, Amanda, Kife,
all
Nicola, all y'all watching. I'm gonna be looking for your
and y'all secret
answers in these comments.
And y'all secret people that's watching that don't be commenting. I know y'all be watching it. Y'all be texting.
We want to hear from you. Yeah.
Y'all be texting and be like, "I saw you on recap yesterday. Yeah, you didn't say that." No. I'm coming for you. But the question is, how did your mom teach you about God? How did your mom teach you about God?
Yeah, that's a real interesting question because
Thank you, Kife.
I can't say thanks, Kife. I can't necessarily say that. This is gonna sound weird. I can't say that she taught me about God. She was just the example of what a God-fearing person is, and because I saw that example growing up and saw how it blessed her life, right? It made me want to, do that too. I was never pressured to. Of course, I had to go to church with them, right? Growing up, growing up.
Listen.
I was there by default, but I wasn't pressured to go get saved. It was just one of those things, that I did for myself, So yeah, that's a weird kind of dynamic to try to, to answer, but just
That's
by
good.
her being an example, that was a lesson to me.
Absolutely. Des, I see you thinking over there.
Yeah, because I don't think my mom taught me about God. Like, because at one point I'm not gonna share my mom's business, but like at one point I remember seeing her so broken, and the women around her kind of pouring into her, building her up, So I, like my grandmother, my Nana was really the person for me that was like,
yeah. Let's talk about Nana. Come on.
But she was also pulling my mom. You know what I mean? So it wasn't. My mom was in her own storms, So I think it was my Nana pulling her, and by default I was pulled.
Yeah.
And I think now we kind of have this tug of war of like, nope, you're not gonna dip. No, you know what I mean? Like now it's we'll balance each other out now, where if I'm having a moment of like I'm in a season and she's like, no, I'm ripping you out of here, I'm pulling you up, or vice versa. So I don't think that it was ever a moment where my mom was we're becoming God-fearing women wholly, like fully at the same kind of time, I guess, yeah. I don't know. That's an interesting question, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my grandma did like the back work for that, though.
No, but I think it could be that same thing for you, Des, because you saw her journey in finding Christ. So even if it's not something that's so direct in her teaching you, it's still an experience that you probably learned from.
True.
Yeah.
True. I know that if she would have had like a solid relationship with God, then she probably wouldn't have had to go through the things that she went through, because she would have seen her worth more, and her value more. And I think that that's a lot of us, like we put ourselves in situations, or we stay in situations, or whatever, because we don't see where we don't think that we deserve the best that God has,
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say the same thing. I mean, I remember where my mom started teaching me things, but as you said, my grandmother was the first, the first one that I remember, hearing her pray out loud.
Yeah.
Shout out to
sitting by the bed during our prayer, even though it was the elementary one, like the now down to sleep prayer, that I thank God that I learned how to do it through that prayer, but that prayer doesn't do anything. So learning from her example, on that, and then her teaching me different scriptures, and then watching my mother get saved, I followed right behind her, and then from there it kind of just sprouted into two different relationships, where in some cases I'm a little bit more advanced in mind than she is, but also understanding that she's the foundation. I remember seeing her read her Bible, and we would sit around the kitchen table reading the book of Matthew. I think we read it for like a month, and breaking it down together. So it was, she taught me a lot of things. She taught me about, praying to him always, trusting him always, But she also told me that he's the one, because as a boy, it was kind of difficult for me to
Mm,
say things to her. So
mm,
she said, things that you can't tell me, tell him,
mm-hmm.
and he'll help you, even if it's through me or another person. So, the importance of prayer was big with my mom.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
There's
was
a
really,
Maverick City song called Talking to Jesus. And
yes,
like the beginning part of that song when they're talking about like you watched your grandma pray and like you thought she was crazy, like why are you praying so much? Why are you doing all of this? But now like you find
yeah,
yourself talking to Jesus and like I'll be in the kitchen cooking and having moments like like
straight
thinking of my
conversation.
grand and I'm
Yeah.
like, I remember my grandmother doing this and I'm like, wow, this is what
Mm-hmm.
she was
Hmm.
so it's that same kind of that same God that
Yeah.
was with our grandparents, same God that's with us. So
Mm-hmm.
with our
And
mothers,
Yeah.
I,
same.
and I think that's what's so beautiful about salvation, that it's different for everyone. No one has the same journey and
Yeah.
how they came into a relationship with Christ, but it's the same. It invokes the same emotions that it does for me, for you, Dean Antoine, Desiree, of just how special that relationship is. And while it might look different for everyone, it's one God and He loves
Yeah.
us all. So it's
Exactly.
a beautiful thing.
And he's generational, which is
Yes.
Yeah.
like how he can be with your grandmother, be with your mother, and then still be with you.
Yeah.
In the way that you need Him.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's not the same way. It's different. But then
Mm-hmm.
you start to relate to how they used to be with him, and like
Mhm.
now it's happening with me.
Yeah.
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 Woo! Don't get me crying over here. Anyway,
No, that's real.
because I felt it.
Because you
Don't
start
do that.
thinking about your nanas and your grandmamas. It's like,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
see what
yeah.
you're talking about. Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. I might have to go give him a hug after this.
It,
Hold
it
them
really
tight,
it
man.
puts life in
'Cause, sheesh,
perspective.
Hmm.
I would love to
It
hug my
does.
nana.
It does. So yesterday, Bishop continued in his Chestnut Checker series, and he talked about the curse breaker. And he went in Genesis 3, and he was talking about Eve being the mother of us, of all living things. So Bishop talked and started talking about a mother, someone who speaks hope, yet must be accustomed to disappointment.
Mm.
So, first question: how did your mom teach you to move forward in the midst of disappointment?
I
Hmm.
Go ahead, Des.
No, I'm just breathing.
Okay. I'm just.
I'm just
I
taking deep
think.
breaths.
I think. Ask the question one more time. I'm going to make sure I understand it right.
How did your mom teach you to move forward in the midst of disappointment?
I think the first step is to acknowledge it, because
Mm,
it's easy for us when it comes to failure or feeling bad about something like that to deny it and to kind of scoop it under the rug, pretend it didn't happen. But you have to accept those things, or not
Mhm.
accept those things, acknowledge those things, and be able to forgive yourself. Um, we're all human, we all make mistakes. It's through doing those things that we are able to learn, and to grow from, right? So first step I would say would be just to acknowledge it and to see what is the learning lesson in it,
yeah,
you know, so that you can do better for the next time that you might have a similar experience, or another challenge that you're going to have to go through. So
that's good.
don't look at it as necessarily a disappointment, but a learning lesson.
Mm.
Yeah, that's good.
I've always
Yes.
been I was a very sensitive child and I'm a very sensitive adult. And so one thing that my mom has always tried to do and it has worked now, simply as I've gotten older, but like create a thick skin, be
Mm-hmm.
like a duck, let things roll off your back because I've had and I have sometimes still a tendency to allow things to
Mm-hmm.
hold on, you know, like if
Mm-hmm.
something happens, I'll hold on to it. And she's always been like, Des, let it go. Please let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm, mm,
um, Yeah, so that's one thing for me that she's just always been very forward about, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
because
Kiefer
nothing
had
really phases Toya. Sorry, go
no, you
ahead.
good. Shout out to Toya. Oh yeah,
Nothing
Toya,
phases
you
her.
won.
Like,
You won yesterday, Toya. We forgot to announce that, but you won
oh
yesterday.
yeah,
You won yesterday.
congratulations.
Shout out to you. Uh,
Yeah.
you won the game yesterday. But Kiefer
Yay.
said his mom taught him to do his best, work harder, trust in himself, keep at it, and ask for
Mhm.
help. Those are very
I love
practical
that.
Yeah.
and good.
Shout out to
Yeah.
your
Three,
mom.
3 and 4 for me, because I feel like too, when we get into those situations where we run into failure, that
Mm,
can really hurt our confidence and our
Yeah.
belief in ourselves, for lack of better words, our trust for ourselves. So we really have to make sure that we're grounded in that. Okay, I know who I am. I know what I can do, and I'm not going to let this setback keep me from, continuing to go after my dream. And then number 4 too, it's okay to ask for help,
Ask for
people.
help. Yeah.
It's okay. You're not going to know everything or to be able to do everything on your own.
right.
So, really, it's okay to build up a network of people that are there to support you and have that common vision of, going after whatever it is that you're going after. It's okay. I don't know. Why do we feel the need to have to do things on our own?
Pride.
Bishop said something yesterday in discussion about like village raising a child type of thing and how that's not a
Yes,
thing
yes.
anymore.
Let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that not even like even in that same realm, we don't even have communal like networking spaces as much either.
Yeah.
Like everyone is like self-made and I did it all by myself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so ask for help. Like, do you know such and such? How can I get
Yeah,
to where you are? Like that
exactly.
concept of having a mentor and mentee is like, oh, you're gonna steal my idea. Like people don't think like
It's
that
not. It's not a
anymore.
competition.
But that's the thing, people don't think communal
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
Yeah.
If there's no communal, like we can all build this thing up together. We
Together,
need
yeah,
each other to work together. It's like I'm gonna
exactly.
do it, and then you have people doing a million different jobs where you can just spread it out and move much faster, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So
Mm-hmm.
Mm. That's had an
yeah.
interesting thought. Um, while you guys were saying the village thing, do do you think I believe most of the ideas we get and concepts we get are not just about us.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you may get an idea that you can't carry out, but if you share it, someone else can take it and go with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's like that whole Habakkuk 2 and 3. Write the vision and make it plain. So
Mm.
whoever those that read it be able to run with it and go with it and take that vision that you see and be able to
Mm-hmm.
fulfill it. And that's the whole thing of that communal village thing and having a mentee and a mentor. Because the thing about a mentor is the mentor is supposed to give you the steps so that you don't have to go through
Right.
the things that the mentee, I mean, that would that would hinder you.
Mm-hmm.
It'll give you that shortcut. That way you can get there faster
Mm-hmm.
and get there with clarity, get there with, and still have your strength left. That way you ain't got to fight through everything and deal with all the mental stuff. They be like, all right, do this, do this, do this, do this, and you're good.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Versus doing it by yourself. Now I got to figure out, okay, if I go this route and fail, now I got to deal with the feeling of failure and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So please, please, if you're listening, make sure you use your community, your godly community.
Yes.
That those people around you who want to see you succeed,
Yeah.
because we can't do this by ourselves. We can't do this by ourselves.
Yep.
So Bishop continues. He says, a mother realizes parenting is done in 3 dimensions. This right here rocked me out. Command, conversation, and concern.
Yeah.
Mm.
Command when a child is young, conversation when they're older, and then you wait for them to bring you a concern or a problem as they are in adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
I wish I'd have knew this when I was a teenager. Maybe I'd understood my mother better. But
Yeah.
so the question is, now that we're older, can you see how your mother's parenting style changed from command, conversation, and concern?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think just go ahead.
Now I was about to say, like, I know, like, just while I was doing the questions and reading through and listening, I like there were times later in my teenage years where she stopped telling me things and started talking me through situations.
Mhm.
Right.
I started to develop my
Yeah.
own
Because
process.
our processing has changed and matured, and let's keep it straight. Sometimes mom steps into command too,
Oh,
and that's
absolutely.
I was
okay.
about to say because those interchangeable sometimes, you know.
Yes, they are. But I think too,
Absolutely.
because we're more, hopefully more mature, we're not we're able to take the command better instead
Mhm.
of us just thinking, oh, she's just trying to tell me what to do, and whatever else. I think we're able to see, oh, there's a concern there. She loves us and wants the best for us.
Right.
Mhm.
So, yes, you can give the command, but two, we can talk about it. We can have that conversation and and process it. So I don't know that they're all kind of
Interchangeable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
interchangeable,
Yeah.
and I think can come into play in different situations.
Yeah. I agree, and I think even as a child, I was telling Deacon Anton yesterday, because Bishop started talking about like getting whoopings and all that sort of stuff, and I was like, my parents have always talked to me. You know,
Yeah.
they've always been very conversational with me. I
Mhm.
only remember getting beat once from each of them, and it was
Mhm.
deserved. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you had to talk, had to do something big for me to actually get beat.
You
So both
had
of
to
them
own
were
it.
deserved,
Yeah.
and I remember them because it's like,
I'll never do it again.
yeah, right. It's
Yeah,
like I
You
exactly.
got one
learned that
time,
Exactly.
day.
idiot. You don't need to do it again. Um, but
Mm.
it's like I think it depends on your child too, because
Yeah.
even like he said
Mm.
yesterday, there's like you have to talk to. I think Pastor Nick mentioned like he talks to each of his children differently,
Mhm.
you
Differently.
know,
Yeah.
because like we're different people. You can have
Yeah.
a
Mhm.
house full of kids, but a bunch of different personalities, bunch of different perspective. You know, you have to
Mhm.
come to people differently. And that quote that we loved, what was it?
Oh, I'm gonna get to
Oh
it. I got
man,
you. I got you though.
the
I'm gonna get to it.
unequal
That's
equal.
it's
Okay,
yeah.
yes,
Yeah, I'm gonna get
like
to it.
so it's
Yeah.
yeah. I think that like we said, it's interchangeable. We can have that conversation because you can have that conversation with a 3-year-old, like, no, you can't do
Yeah.
this because of
Mhm.
XYZ, because
Mhm.
it's a place of concern, and
Mhm.
commanding you not to because of, you know. And then
Mhm.
Yeah.
you can also go to a 30-year-old child and say, hey, maybe you shouldn't do this. I don't like
Mhm.
that you're doing it. I know you're going to make your decision, but you shouldn't.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, a mother's always
No,
going to be able to have those
and
qualities.
I think it's important that as parents you're able to have those conversations with your kids instead of it just being because I said so moment. We talked
Ah,
about this I guess a couple weeks ago now for Fresh Friday about things that
yeah.
how we what was it
The things the church didn't tell us.
right,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and it was just do it because this is what
This
we're
is what it
supposed to
says.
do
Yeah.
without
Mm-hmm.
the background, to process for ourselves why,
Right.
Mhm.
and how maybe if we had known some of that stuff, the conclusions we came to in life might have been a little different, right? So it's that same concept for kids growing up. I mean, yes, they're kids and you might have to uh, uh, put things in a different way so it's easier for them to understand.
Yeah.
But especially kids these days, they ain't stupid and they're
No, they're
learning
way
so
smarter.
much. Yeah.
Way
So
smarter.
yeah.
Yeah. Because they have programs and things that we didn't have growing up that are teaching
Mm-hmm.
them some more advanced things. And I'll be
Mm-hmm.
listen. I'll watch like kindergartners that know how to. Yeah, I know how to turn on the stove. Wait, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, no, that was something we were not allowed to do in
Yeah.
kindergarten. Stay
Yeah.
away from the stove and the oven. When it
Mm-hmm.
was
Mm-hmm.
on, when they were cooking in the kitchen, you weren't allowed in the kitchen. Like that's just
Mm-hmm.
point blank period. But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
these kids are starting to learn these things, and that's it's a good thing, but it's also a thing where now you have to up your parenting skills
Yeah.
because they can risk the simple thing of grabbing a knife or
Mm-hmm.
touching the hot fire or
Mm-hmm.
you know just trying to be grown
Yeah.
like we all try to
Exactly.
be
Trying to be
try to be
grown.
grown
They're 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 exposed to so much that if they aren't having that conversation to kind of counteract it, you know, like you really have to be mindful of that.
Exactly. So it's safe to say that these three concepts will probably change the way we parent in the future, because I never knew it was these three, the three C's of parenting. Who would have knew that? This is why we have Bishop.
That's why it's Bishop.
Exactly. This is why we have Bishop. So Pastor Nick yesterday, this is what Des was getting to. Pastor Nick yesterday during the Engage Live segment gave us a quote that we both looked at each other and was like,
like, did you write it? Because I wrote it down.
Because I was trying to write it and I couldn't because it was just blowing my mind. I said, what was it again? I was like, okay, let me write this down. So the quote is, there is nothing more unequal than treating everyone equally. So this isn't necessarily a parenting question. This is a life question. In life, as leaders, friends, siblings, and/or parents, and for those of you in the watching, you can answer this in the comments. Why is it important to be versatile in your approach with other people?
Well, go ahead, Mike.
No, I was gonna say I want to see some answers to this in the comments because this is
okay.
a good question.
You gonna give him a second? Okay. Give him a second.
Yeah, because that quote, man, I was just like, dude, and I know it wasn't his.
Like, no, yeah,
he said it was somebody.
Else. Yeah.
I just don't know who, but I was just like,
let's find out.
Oh yeah, look it up. This is why we have technology, but we can be having a conversation and fact checking at the same time.
Right.
Oh my goodness. Repeat the question again. Okay. Why is it important to be versatile in your approach with other people? Based off of the quote, Kife, based off of the quote, there is nothing more unequal than treating everyone equally.
It's a quote from Aristotle.
Really?
That makes so much sense.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
That dude.
I think context is important. Just think in terms of like, to put this disclaimer out there in terms of racial stuff. Of course, we all need to be treated equally in that standpoint. But I think everyone just has different experiences and different backgrounds, and you don't know where people are coming from.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes if you were to know, that would have given you better insight into how to relate with that person, so that maybe situations or something like, you say you had a falling out, some of those things could have been avoided because you treated that person the same way you would have treated someone else. Does that make sense? So like that I know you say you're a little bit more sensitive than Antoine, or vice versa, whatever. I'm not going to treat you both the same in a given situation because I know, okay, maybe I need to do it differently for it to have the impact that I'm looking for, as opposed to Dean and Antoine, I can just say it, you know?
And
I think like if I just think that sometimes like we get ourselves into these situations just because we don't know that could have had better impact or a better outcome than what they led to.
Yeah, I also think we have to start thinking about what we say before we say it too. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And like how we say it, because you know, and stop expecting for people to receive it just because like anybody's supposed to just take what you give. It's like, no, like you just mentioned, like, you know that I'm going to respond in a certain way than someone else. So why would I approach you in a different tone, in a tone that I know is going to upset you or whatever, you know? Yeah, no, that the quote itself is very impactful, because I don't know why I immediately thought about like making eggs. Like, not everyone likes eggs. Why would I just make a full thing of eggs? I should ask first. You know what I mean? Like, do you like them? Are you allergic to them? Like, I know that's a stupid example, but you know, it's,
that's perfect.
You know, some people like their eggs boiled. Some people like them scrambled. Like, some people, you know what I mean? So you have to ask, and
The
it's all
cheese and Tabasco.
it's all an egg, but how do you
Yeah.
want it? Or how,
Mhm.
how will you receive this thing,
Mhm. And you're not gonna know until you ask or have that different experiences with those
Right.
people. I like what Tiffany said in the comments. She said it helps to be more well-rounded too.
Mm-hmm.
She says she's a military brat, and being around various people, you have to be able to see from different perspectives and different cultures. Respect is key for everyone.
That's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was watching this one pastor, and he mentioned how, like having respect for people, and he was saying, if you ever traveled outside of this country, you would be able to, you would get off your high horse and be more humble about other people in this country. So if you go to France and you don't know the language, you can't speak French, and you're sitting there trying to figure out which way is left, and you're surrounded by all these people who, like, that'll make you feel small. So you think about the people who are in this country who don't really know what's going, you know what I mean, who don't have the native tongue, and people are being disrespectful to the people here. It's like, no, just get off your
Wow.
high horse, be humble, think about if the shoe was on the other foot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So and again, that's approaching people with them, like she said, the manner of respect, the
Yeah.
manner, like humanity. Think of, you know what I mean? And really going out of your way to put yourself in that person's shoes. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for me, it's important to be versatile because growing up, sometimes it was the rah, 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 rah conversation with older people, like the yelling to get their point across versus, having that conversational tone where we're sitting down talking about things and then I fully get it. Like to this day, if you start yelling at me, I'm gonna tune you out. It's just point blank.
Because it's a trigger.
Yeah, it's just not gonna do it. But if you sit down with me and we talk, now I'm also the guy that you can just be like, look, this is what it is. Boom. Okay. All right. I have to take it, but also understanding now that other people have, like you said, have triggers. So I can't, even a slight pitch change in my tone can be a trigger for somebody.
Yeah.
A look can be a trigger for somebody. Me ignoring you can be a trigger for somebody. So we have to as I think it was Emma, she said we have to understand people's love languages and things of that nature. And that plays along with it. But what we need to know is who we're talking to.
Right.
And then understanding that, our tone has to kind of match the level of conversation. Where it's not, if we're coming from a place of love and respect, as we've been talking about, it'll be easier to get your point across. Because being that I'm in education, there's certain kids where I may have to change my tone for them to get it. But there's others where all I have to do is look at them and they may get it. And then there's some where I say their name and I may not even say anything else, but just their name. And they know what you're doing is unacceptable.
I'm that kid.
I wish I was that kid.
I hated it. Desiree, yes. To this day, hearing my full name, I'm like, what I do? Like,
exactly. I wish I was that kid. See, you got it the first time. It took 100.
I told you I only got one spanking from each of them.
It took 100 for me to get it.
All I need is one time. I'm good.
My mother would tell you I got tore up all the time. Anyway,
why would you do that to yourself?
I'm hard-headed. What you want me to
do? Can I read what Daniel said in the comments?
Yeah.
She said, she just talked to someone about it yesterday, and it's the fact that it's not the message sometimes, it's the delivery.
Right.
Yeah.
The delivery allows hearts and minds to be open and receptive.
Right.
Ooh.
The intention
Go,
is good, but now you let it down. That's it.
Shout out to Mo. I see
also,
y'all
that
on YouTube.
picture's cute. Go, Mo.
That's my friend from high school.
Really?
High school.
Wow. Wait, that's not. Okay, never mind. We'll talk about that later. I thought that was the one that's not the one in the video, was it? Okay, never mind. Anyway, Back to the discussion. A mother educates her children through her failures. I'm skipping, but I'm gonna do this. A mother educates her children through her failures, sharing the principles, but not the gory perception that changes life and changes the details. A mother should be a praying woman, an intercessor, and a warrior in prayer. Mothers are dreamers out loud, speaking vision and attacking those around her to some attaching something those around her to something greater than themselves. How important is it to speak the dreams and visions God has given you over your family? We're going to take the other role, not learning from mom, but how now is it important for us to take these things, these visions and dreams, start speaking it over our families? Because I don't know about you guys, the older you get, the roles start to slowly reverse.
Yes, it does.
Where now they're looking at you for answers, and you're like, I still need you, but they're
Right.
looking at you for answers and leadership, and now you're just like, I don't know, but how important is it to speak the dreams and vision God has given you over your family?
Say it one more time for the people listening.
For the people in the back, how important is it to speak the dreams and visions God has given you over your family?
I think that we have the power.
I got
to
a Kevin
heal.
moment.
What?
That was a Kevin moment. I know the feeling. Where everybody just pauses, be like, I got a Kevin moment.
Yeah, no, I think I mentioned before, like, not even the family that's here yet. Like, I pray over my womb, you know. I pray over the kids that are to come, the generations that are to come. And I also pray for the family that's already here, because I think that all it takes, like, you don't need to be like I used to think you needed to be an elder to make stuff move. You know, you needed to have that kind of monarch kind of thing, you know, or not matriarch, excuse me, not monarch, that matriarch kind of feel to you to be able to shift stuff. But I've experienced moments where I'm like, oh no, I feel like I think I'm the only person who can get this done right now. You know, I'm the only person who can pray about this thing, because I'm either I'm the only person who knows about it, or they're calling on me to do it, you know? So stepping into that role and letting God use you in that way, you know, well, for me, that I don't have to be the auntie yet to do that, you know? Because I really thought that was a thing. Because you know how you always hear, like, oh, Big Mom was the, you know, that's the
head of the family.
Yeah, that's the person who does everything. But like, you can do that right now. You know, you can still have power and move right now, right where you are. So yeah, no. And I guess in the same kind of light too, I am thinking of when I always joke, like, I can't wait to be a mom, but I really can't wait to be a grandma. Like,
I see about that earlier today, yeah.
Like, I really can't wait to be a grandma, because like I guess because my attachment to my nana. Yeah. Like,
I mean, I can wait, but I look forward to it.
Like, 15 to make me a grandma, like 50. You know what I mean? But still, you know, yeah, that generation, to see the lives get blessed, like, continuously, you know. Yeah. Did that answer the question? I don't know what your question was, Deacon. I was just rambling.
No, it answered the question, because you talk, you know, you answered how, you know, you go into prayer about things, you know, that most people aren't able to do in your family because it came to you first. So you start to speak those things over your family members, even though they don't know that you're doing it. And that's part, you know, I believe that's part of being, you know, a mother, because I'm pretty sure my mom has done that, you know. So go ahead, Maya.
I agree, and I think we talked about this before too, when we you know, how we put emphasis on like generational curses and the impact of what that is, you know, in the generations to come and whatnot. You know, we said that words are power. They have the power to speak life and death.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes the things that we speak now aren't coming into fruition into the generations, years to come. So it's so important to, you know, not only be able to have that faith for yourself, but for those around you, like Sister Desiree said, be able to speak, you know, life into the family that is here with you now, but also for those 5 generations after you,
Yeah.
who are going to be looking at your story or how it's trickled down and impacted the lives of those before them. You know what I mean? So speak
That's
it,
good.
pray, you know, it really does have an impact.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say from a practical standpoint, I remember my grandmother speaking blessing over all of the grandchildren. And was like, you know, you're gonna be this, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, you can do this, you can do that. And noticing now to this day how it still is working.
And still carrying you.
You know, and then even, you know, going, even if we did go astray from it for a minute, it's like, okay, I still remember the words. And it kind of anchors you back. You know, so though I think that's what Bishop was getting at, the importance of, you know, casting the dream and the vision that you see as the you know, as a person who's able to see from the outside, you know, looking in. And then also, you know, as Des was saying, how she prays over her children that are not even here. And I love that. You know, you pray over the generations that aren't even here so that the seed is already sown even before the child comes. So when the child comes, it's ready. Like the seed is ready. Like, oh, I'm gonna attach. I'm gonna attach, and that's a beautiful thing. I applaud you for that because I ain't even think about that. I might add that into my prayers. Mercy.
Mo Daniel says in the comments, in some cases, is important because you can be an example for those family members who don't believe.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we say we want God to use us, and in some cases he uses us as a helper to teach and push his vision for you and your family because he knows and believes you can get the job done.
Yeah.
Look here, Mo. We about to put you on.
I was gonna say,
we about to send you the invite. Come on through, Mo.
That's real.
That's good.
That
wow. Because you never know how he's going to use you. And that's the crazy part. Like, we always think he's going to use us in a grand way, but sometimes it's the subtle things, the things behind the scenes where he really gets the impact. That may not get the applause that we want, but it's an impact. Go ahead, Des. I see you.
I was just going to say, you don't know who prayed for you to like, whose prayer is covering you right now.
Exactly.
You know? Like, yeah, like I'm thinking like, oh, my Nana's prayers. I know my Nana's prayers are still covering me, but my little cousin led family prayer the other night. So and he's 5, so his prayer is now covering me. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know where that blessing is coming from. So I love that. I love that. He uses whoever to get it done.
Exactly. We are almost done here. I'm trying to think where I want to go with this since we're running out of time. Okay, we'll go here. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, so I saw a comment, a question in the comments asking about when church will be open again.
Yes, I saw that.
Girl, I am with you because I cannot wait till we can all be back. And that sanctuary is going to be a party. But as Bishop says,
carpet up.
It's gonna be crazy. But as Bishop says, is not going to reopen until it's safe for everyone, until grandma can be in church, you know, with everyone else. And while, you know, things are, you know, starting to look a little bit better, we need to make sure that we're still practicing our faith and common sense and, you know, make sure that we're not coming back until the time is ready. So definitely stay tuned to all of our social media channels because when that day comes, like I said, it's going to be lit. It's going to be a whole thing. So make sure that you're following us. Okay.
We are gonna have drive-in service soon, though.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
coming.
come out to the drive-in service. That's gonna start
Yeah.
real soon.
Yeah.
And those are fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Honk
and
your
we're making
horn for
some
Jesus.
changes too, so just be ready. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's not
It's
gonna
gonna
be
be a
like
good
it was
time.
last year. Just letting y'all know. So just be ready. Be ready. You only get this stuff during the recap, so make sure you keep coming. Okay.
Don't tell nobody.
Make sure you keep
Keep
coming
it
to
on
the
the low.
recap. We just be dropping gems on y'all and then exclusive information too. So just
Yep,
keep
yep,
coming.
yep.
So Bishop says, and this is probably going to be the last one for the evening because we're not going to have a lot of time to go through everything. He says a woman is a revelation of God's mind and will. Women were created to be vessels of destiny and greatness. In the Bible, a woman is a female regardless of age because maturity in the spirit is not just a matter of age. Womanhood in the Bible is identification rather than parenting. Parenting and womanhood are two different things. And it wasn't revealed until Genesis 18 do we discover the duties of a wife. For y'all, that's a homework assignment. Go ahead and read Genesis 18. We don't have time to go through it all. Y'all got some homework now. And then Bishop says, a wife doesn't make a woman. A woman makes a wife. This guy.
Can we talk about poetry?
I know, right? It's like, dude.
Yeah.
And then he says, the question that I have from this was, how can we apply the concept of our identity as men or women? How can we revive that concept of our identity, making us the roles we occupy, rather than the role making us?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
So he says, he said a wife doesn't make a woman makes a wife. So I learned sometimes in culture, most people don't think you to be a woman until you're married, until you're a wife, right? So how can we now take this new identity of I'm a woman regardless, or I'm a man regardless of what role I occupy? How can we take this concept of identity and apply it into the roles that we occupy now? For instance, whether you are, you are a successful business person, even though your business may not be thriving, but you're successful. Why? Because you started it and you're getting the ball rolling. So appreciating who you are, where you are now, and the role, your identity is clear. I'm a business person, even though my business is not at the top 500. Right. So that's the question in essence. How can we apply the concept of our identity, making us the roles we will occupy?
No, I think you just kind of answered it. Like you have to be able to. I think you have to be able to speak it into existence. You might not be there yet. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some struggle. You're going to face some challenges.
Mm-hmm.
But going back to like what we said in the beginning, like you have that vision, you work towards it, and you don't let your failures or disappointments, make you stop, but encouraging you to keep pushing towards it and to learn from and, go through that evolution process of getting from where you are to where you're going to be.
Good. All right, we got time for one more. Let me see. Genesis 3, as we talked about the foundational scripture, says that Eve, is the mother of all living things. That was what her name means, the mother of all living things. And Bishop talks about the church being the mother of all believers. In essence, the church is the curse breaker. So with that, the church being the mother of all believers, with an announcement to give birth, or with an assignment to give birth to a generation of men or people, male and female, that will call upon the name of the Lord. What are some ways the church can teach, reach, and birth generations of men and women that will call upon the name of the Lord? What are some practical ways we can, as the church, begin to reach down into the generations and teach them how to call upon the name of the Lord?
I think that visibility of the generations, consistency, showing that God isn't stiff or stagnant or stale or boring or he's not a one size fit all kind of God.
Yeah.
You know, I think that allowing, that we don't have to be one type of Christian for God to love us.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to use this as an example, and it's a little out there, but the rapper DMX just passed away, right?
Yes.
And I was watching my big cousin was showing me a video of his his funeral, how there were like 1,000 motorcyclists out there, and I didn't know. I mean, I know his hits, but I don't know his music. You know what I mean? Like I've heard his songs, but I don't know like his discography. And so, but what I do know about him, I know he's very rowdy, very like lively a lot sometimes. So I'm like, ooh, I can't judge. I'm not the ultimate judge, but I was like, I hope he goes to heaven. I pray that for everybody. Like anytime somebody passes away, I'm like, I hope they make it to heaven. And I'm like, they have skulls and crossbones and all this stuff across the, stuff happening. And my cousin was like, he prayed all the time. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, no, he prayed in his music all the time. And I was like, oh, so he let me listen to one of his songs, and this man was like rapping a prayer, like, hey, yo, God, like he was really having a whole moment. And I was like, wow, okay. But it's not, he's reaching somebody's heart. He was touching somebody's heart. He was exposing somebody to Christ. You know what I mean? And it isn't the way that we would typically come to, like, that wouldn't have gotten me to Christ, but it got somebody else's heart saved, So I think that when we open the doors and open our hearts really to receive people and not judge them and not judge what you're doing, where you're coming from, what you look like, what you might smell like, what you just finished doing, like, come on in. That's how we get. That's how we get generations in the door. That's how we continue to get generations coming. That's how we keep. That's how we keep God's body full.
Agree. I was gonna say, like, I think that's one of the things that's so much like appreciated about Bethany. Deacon Antoine, you just said, Bishop says all the time, come as you are. It's not about judgment. It's about people in relationship and forming that relationship so that you're being an extension of Christ, and another thing that Bishop does so well is just being able to keep it real. We all heard some of these crazy stories that he said up there in the pulpit, right? And I think that's why we appreciate him so much, because we're able to identify with him, and to learn. It's what'd she say?
She said it's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, So, and going back to what it does say, like, that's how we're able to get the generations in, is that we're coming as we are. We're all broken in some way and there to be healed. And that levels us, right? So we're able to get a deeper understanding upwards, with you in your relationship with Christ, but also with each other. And I think that's what's so special about Bethany.
Yeah.
Both in person and online too, because Ada's all the way down in Florida, and we see her every time she joins us on social. Yeah.
She's in Florida. Wow. What's up, Ada? I'm jealous. I know you got good weather.
Part of the fam.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
Well, that That's great. I love what everybody just said. And then also on top of that, what Des was saying about DMX, I just wanted to add that in. Is that one of my friends from work, he's a avid DMX fan. Like
Mm.
I had no idea until DMX passed away. But then we started talking and he was like, can you teach me how to pray?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was listening to DMX and was like, this man was saying all kinds of things. But he was like, he would stop in concerts. I don't know if you ever saw that video. He stopped in mid concert and prayed and then continue with the show. Or he would pray with different people. And then at the end of Kanye West's album, the one he just did with the choir,
Jesus is King.
there's a prayer. Yeah, Jesus is King. DMX leads the prayer at the end. So he was just enamored and had his example. This is a dude that I know for sure would never pray. But now because he followed in DMX's footsteps, he's starting to have conversations with God. So as you alluded to, like if we start doing things organically ourselves and stop trying to be carbon copies of other people and approach God the way that we would approach him, other people will be led by example. Like, okay, I want to be like this person, but in my own way.
Right.
You know, learning that talking to God is cool. You know, and being transparent about what you're going through in your prayer is necessary, you know, for other people to grow. So beautiful, beautiful example. Beautiful example.
I think like we start to lose people when we do that facade type of thing. Like when we start to like talk to me like you would talk to me if we were in the middle of Trader Joe's. That's how you're gonna save me. You know what I mean? No, seriously, like don't boast up and get into like you don't talk like that. Like tell me what it is. You know, talk to me on a level that is real, that is from your heart. That is how you save someone's soul.
Exactly.
Like that's what Jesus did. He came down to our level.
And talk regular.
If Jesus was in heaven and tried to do everything he was trying to do, like Lazarus, get up, then everybody would be like, oh, okay, cool. But the fact that he was down here, that's what made it more impactful. You know,
and he like you said, that he gave it in ways that people could understand. Parables. He gave those stories so that people can understand them in the way that was, you know, and what their life, where they were in their life, they can understand.
Yeah.
You know. So speaking of parables, shameless plug. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Bishop's class on parables is starting this Thursday at 7 p.m. There's still time to register. So make sure you go to gotobethany.com so that you can register for that class. All of Bishop's classes are like out of this world. Amazing. But I know I'm really looking forward to this one. And now he's going to break down what each of the parables mean and whatnot. So sign up.
This is the one class, unfortunately, I'm not able to take.
Ooh, no.
I'm a little hurt. But it's okay. It's okay. I will glean from somebody. I don't know who. I'm gonna be like, hey, are you taking the class? I'll slide you through. Give me all your notes. But this is just the importance of, you know, being in the right place at the right time and taking advantage of the resources that we have for you here at Bethany. And one of the resources that we have is the service that we provide every Sunday. And this is just a little bit. I ain't want to go little. Oh, look at that. Okay, I see you. You trying.
She got me fancy.
She went like this.
Listen, let me have my own thing, you know?
What do you think?
This is what we're talking about.
I know, right? So this is just a little bit of what Bishop talked about. And luckily for you, at 7:00, we have a recap coming up where you can get the full thing, get your notebook out, get your Bible ready, open up your mind, and get ready to receive the word another way, in a different, fresh way for Mother's Day. Because I believe this message will be impactful for you, those that have a mother currently, and those that are dealing with the loss of a mother. This is a good way to remember. And this is also a good way for you to really, really strengthen yourself around our universal mother, our spiritual mother, the church.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. So I think we got some announcements.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure, as we said earlier, we are the church that never sleeps.
Never sleeps.
So just wanted to make sure that you guys know a little bit of what's happening this week. Like Deacon Antoine just said, we do have another rebroadcast of Sunday service coming up at 7 p.m. So make sure you get your notebooks out and really just take in the word and study it for yourself. Of course, someone's at my door now. You're going to hear some dogs barking. On tomorrow, we have a lot going on. At 7 p.m. we have our Diamonds Women's Ministry, who is coming back for another empowerment session. So that's going to be great. I hope you guys can still hear me.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. At 8:30, Bishop is back for another Meet Your Father panel. So Bishop's going to be on it. Pastor Nick is going to be on it. Dr. Alfonso, who is the author of the book Meet Your Father, he's going to be moderating everything. Just great conversation. I think this is the 4th panel that they've done so far.
Yeah, about 4.
Around there. So definitely tune in tomorrow as well at 8:30 to glean from that conversation. Ada said her dogs are barking at me. Sorry, Ada. Wednesday, of course, we have Word Impact. And then Thursday, we're back for the Sound Mind panel. I believe they're continuing conversation on habits and how it's important to create healthy habits. So make sure you're tuning in Thursday at 7. Friday, Fresh Friday. Fresh Friday, we are back. This is going to be a special Fresh Friday because we have special guests that are joining us. Dr. Mario is joining us with a few other guests. So it's going to be great conversation. Make sure that you tune in on Friday at 7. Saturday, of course, in the morning at 9, we have On Point Radio. Bishop Pastor Nick talk about politics, cultural events, everything. Is on there. So I know that was a lot. So just make sure whenever that bing goes off on in your notifications on Facebook, tune in because you're going to enjoy it. And then, of course, Sunday, we're back for another full day of events. The Encounter at 8 and 9. The Engage team is here at 9:45. We play games, talk. We have a Q&A discussion with Bishop and Pastor Nick. It's just a good time. So make sure you tune in for that as well. And then we start all over again on Monday.
Monday again.
On Monday again, 1 o'clock with myself and Pastor Nick. And then we're back here at 5:30 for the recap. So the church that never sleeps. Means sleep.
Right. And that's a good thing. We got to be on the move all the time. The time. Well, we hope you all have been blessed. Any final remarks?
No, love you guys.
Love you guys. Continue to celebrate your mothers this week, even though it was just a day. Celebrate them one more time. This week, do something special.
Oh, I was gonna say, did you talk about the COVID vaccination?
Oh,
that's this weekend.
How did I forget that? It's this Friday.
Yeah,
this Friday. So, someone wrote about how we want to get back in church.
This is one of the ways.
One of the ways that would certainly help. Not even just for church, but like just in general. We all need to make sure that we're keeping ourselves safe and protected. So this Friday from 2 to 4, we are hosting COVID-19 vaccinations. It's so important that you register ahead of time. We have the link posted on our social media channels. You can also give a call to Pastor Nick and Pastor P, Pastor Prescott, and register through them as well. But it's so important that you register now because if they see that there's a need, they can actually extend the time for more people to come and get vaccinated. So do not wait to the last minute. Register now for your COVID-19 vaccinations. And I know some people have been questioning what vaccination is it? It's Moderna. And then ID is not required. So if you don't let that be a source of hesitance to come and get vaccinated, because again, we everyone needs to be healthy and protected. So register right now, okay? I think that's everything.
Yeah, I think so.
If not, charge it to your head, not your heart.
I think that's it.
There's
We got
a lot.
emergent worship on Saturday as well. Saturday at 6.
Yes, 6:30.
And then
Podcast is out.
Yeah, podcast is out. And then Wednesday night, parents, if you're watching and you're listening, or if you catch this on rebroadcast, we have a Bible study for your children. We have youth Bible study at 7:30. You can go to bbcyouth.org. That's again bbcyouth.org for all information in all grade levels, from kindergarten all the way up until 12th grade. All right. So until next week, we'll catch you around the plaza and we'll see you online.
All right. Bye.